Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you like what you hear. This is going to be your mid-June 2018 reading. I am going to go through just a couple of housekeeping things. Last set of my videos, some of you have noted that the volume was very, very low. I have no idea what happened. I looked at all the videos and they are all the same volume on my side on several devices. I know I have friends who have gone through the same thing and theirs were fine. So it seems to be very random. And if you didn't hear it, I apologize. Maybe get earbuds. Maybe you need to listen to it extra attentively. Point is that I've made sure the mic, and I have a professional mic, is all the way up. So fingers crossed it's not going to happen again. And if it does, well, I'm going to have to deal with it. So hopefully that problem is solved for those of you. And if you want to skip through this intro, I wouldn't advise, but if you want to skip through this intro, I will put the stamp on the bottom. I do want to say that I just released the Uranus in Taurus Vimeo videos. Took me a while to get them done. I was led by Spirit to do them. They're lengthy. They're lengthy. They're over half an hour, some of them. And I was focusing on the entire 7 years from 2018 to 2025. I've never done anything like it, but because there is so much going on and we will be going through tremendous transformations and tremendous situations in our lives, I was asked to put something out to give you some guidance as to what to expect. And the way I did it is I focused on the major aspect of our lives versus, small things. Do listen to them if you choose them. Once in a while, as you know, my videos don't make a lot of sense at the very beginning of when I release them, but they almost always make sense to you. As per your comments, they make sense to you at the end. So hugely important. There is so much that will be going on. And for those of you who are interested to see how you're going to be transforming and what are some of the tools and some of the important information for you to be aware of, would be, and what guidance you could have, that link is also down below for you. And with that said, I think that's all I have. Thank you again so much for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you have any ideas, please post them. And without further ado, let's move on to the mid-June 2018 reading. Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for watching this. Welcome to the mid-June 2018 reading. Let me start off by explaining first how this is going to work this month, because apparently I'm being asked to look something slightly different. So for those of you who watch my work on a regular basis, first and foremost, thank you. You know that once in a while my teachers, my spirit guides, ask me to do things differently, and now seems to be the time. So it was important for me to let you know what it is that my intention is when I ask for energies or I ask for information. And my intention is to give you information, to give us information in order to help us move on in our path, or on our path in a much more beneficial, stronger way. Does this include predictions? Not necessarily. Can it? It can. But the focus here is on helping you reorganize, organize, and refocus what is most important in your life in order for you to choose the things that make you happy versus the ones that don't, and specifically when we are stuck. So all of us are stuck in certain areas at some point it's in our life, but the aim is if we can become much more sure of ourselves, then anything gets a little bit easier. So my intention for you is to receive whatever you need to hear at this particular time in order to help you move on in perhaps a slightly stronger way, whether it's a word, whether it's whatever you get out of this. That is what it's important to me, and that is what is important to Spirit, because at the end of the day, if we can help you move forward, then, well, things tend to get a little bit easier. So with that in mind, what did I write here? Yes, and I tuned into the overall energies. I felt you are looking at options, and This can connect to a creative endeavor. Yes, it can connect to a career. It can connect to an option you're looking at choosing with regards to work or a relationship or some sort of a path. It is a choice-making situation. Either it is now and you're sitting on it, or very shortly it will be. And of course, this is a general reading, so may not apply to all of you, but I saw you looking at options and discerning. So there was, discerning is the word that comes in, and also prospecting. So prospecting is all connected to future. It's not connected to the past. Discerning is, well, it could be about now, but also the future. So there is some sort of an idea here that many of us are looking at making new choices or new decisions. I also heard the word anointed, and I actually forgot to look it up. But whatever the word anointed means to you, notice if it resonates with you on any levels. But I saw you being anointed, and I think, I have to look it up, but I think that that word means blessed, being given permission to, something of that nature. But it also symbolizes some sort of, well, perseverance is yes, but what is it that I'm feeling here? It symbolizes courage. So yeah, courage is the right word. So look up the word anointed. I saw you being anointed. I also felt you were getting ready for something very important. When I asked the question why, what I received is because you are coming full circle. So Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. Lots of things will change in our lives, hopefully for the better. And many of us will go through transitions. We have been going through transitions for a while, and we are currently going through transitions. So chances are that some of you will be going, yes, that is me. But what's important here for me to say is that whatever it is that you are deciding or about to decide, number one is have courage. But number two, your strength. Courage gives you strength. Strength gives you courage. Rely on your inner resources more. So that's important. Then I heard the word objections no longer. And I had to kind of tune into it because it can be interpreted in various ways. So when I felt into it, there are no longer any objections for you to move forward with this. So it seems very specific. It's a situation or a person. Either you had objections before, somebody had objections before, and objections no longer, which means the path is clear for you to be able to do what you need to do with regards to what you feel is important to you. Then I heard the word must admit truth to yourself and to others. And what's interesting is that a card that virtually means the same thing is staring at me 10 minutes later. So there is a confirmation, or there's actually several confirmations here. What I do is I channel first, and then I will pull cards based on what deck I'm being drawn to. And when things coincide, that's a huge, huge, huge confirmation from me, because I'm talking to you and I don't know your life. So some of you must admit the truth to yourself and others. And then it was said, it is a greatest gift you can give to yourself and another, being true to yourself and being true with another person. I'm looking at the word admitting, and I feel some of you have been hiding from wanting to know the truth. Now, when I look at the cards, and I also have a runestone for you, which I've never done before, they fascinate me now. There is this idea that some of you are not wanting to see something, and it comes up with, I want to say 4 different symbols, including cards. So that's pretty loud. And if you have been avoiding wanting to see something, wanting to know the truth, or for whatever convenience or inconvenience it presented, it's time for you to be true with yourself. Also, if we are not true with ourselves, we cannot really move forward and create a new beginning, because, well, if we're not true with ourselves, therefore we don't really know what we're after. And if we're not sure what we're after, how are we going to get it, right? So there's a need for focus and determination being presented here. I also saw that, and I don't know what this means. It'll mean different things to different to many of you. I saw a messenger. A dove came to me with carrying a message. So this is to me a messenger. For some of you, you will receive a message from a spiritual message from a spiritual person. This could be a message from someone who has passed, but this can also be a message that comes to you seemingly out of nowhere. And what I felt is that whatever the message is, or whoever or whatever the messenger is, it could be a dream, it could be reoccurring numbers over and over, it could be you seeing pennies all around you, things that keep repeating themselves. It will lead you to something very important. Or it'll lead you to somewhere, something very important. Not only important, but also the word satisfaction was connected to it. So this is possibly you're charging on your way, on your path, and all of a sudden you hear something, somebody says something to you, you have a dream, you have a reading or something, and all of a sudden you follow that and it changes the course of your journey. And not only is it important, but it leads you to a place of satisfaction. But it's really important to listen to yourself first, and that will also allow you to be truthful with yourself. So that's the information that I received on channel. There's something else here. The other thing I heard was take everything with a grain of salt. In other words, I'm going to leave that. It's up to you to interpret what that means. Okay, now moving on with cards. I asked specific questions for each deck that I chose. The first card you have is the Crow. When I saw this card, already I felt that there is something you're not wanting to see. And no, this is not the meaning of the card. I realize that, but this is what I saw and this is what I felt. So this is what I need to say, because it's also consistent with all the other things. So there's something here you're not wanting to see. Now, for some of you, it's something physically you're choosing not to see or acknowledge. And for others of you, you're choosing not to see a certain situation. And again, for whatever reason, you're choosing not to see it, and therefore you're not being honest with yourself. So you have to ask yourself the question, why? The next card you have is the Starfish. So Starfish is all about appearances. So because the way it's shown to me, so the energy of the Starfish is too preoccupied and focuses too much attention on what other people say about you. So if you have been eluded by other people's perceptions, or if you did things to look a certain way, if your other people's opinion is so valuable to you that without that you wouldn't know who you are, there is something here that's needing to be addressed. And Constance's need for that kind of an attention, which is in some ways looking for affection, many ways. I'm being told to say it leads to nowhere other than uncomfortable things later. And that statement will mean to you something, something means to you something, or it won't mean anything to you. But there's a need here to recognize your own individual greatness. Maybe that's the thing you're not wanting to see. Maybe you are in a constant denial of who you are, and you're just choosing not to see it. Maybe that's what it is. And so there's a need here to address any sort of commitment to other people's ideas or beliefs about you. And that's maybe that they're saying take everything with a grain of salt. So if you are someone who has a tendency to rely too much on what other people say, think about it. Separating yourself from that all of a sudden can leave you feeling slightly off, because you depend on that. You depend on it, you get it, but it's not a healthy dependence. It's actually a very unhealthy codependence. And the next card you have is the Oyster. So the Oyster is all about allowing something precious to be seen by the world. And there is something you're not allowing yourself to show, or you're not allowing a part of yourself to be seen. You're not allowing your gift to be seen. You're not allowing whatever treasure it is that you hold inside. Maybe it's you. You are not allowing that you're in, but you're not allowing that to be seen by the world. And if it's because you are afraid of judgment, and that's why you are choosing not to see certain things, this is a time of great growth potential and absolute clarity if you choose to see it that way. So again, he's asking me not to explain, but I'm going to say, obviously, this is a huge statement that can apply to anyone at any point in one's life. But remember, my intention is to have you go, maybe that message is for you. Okay? Or maybe that message is for me. So I want to say here, stop hiding. The next set of cards are focus points. You have the card called Deep Knowing. And in this position, it's all about not wanting to see the truth. And he says, explain to them why that happens, why we do this. Well, we don't want to see the truth for various reasons. More often than not, it is for some sort of protection. We are protecting ourselves from something by not wanting to see a certain situation the way it is. Generally, what we are protecting ourselves from is some sort of a loss. So, for example, if you are stuck in a relationship that is fundamentally not working for you, and it's been that way for a long time, this could be a friendship, a family relationship, a spouse, lover, a work relationship, community, whoever you relate to. If you are stuck in a situation where it doesn't serve you and you're choosing not to see it, you want to ask yourself the question, why? What is so important for you in that particular relationship that you are choosing to stay in it even though it doesn't serve you? And functionality is very important, absolutely. And right away, they're taking me to the idea of a work environment. Yes. Yes, sometimes we have to do something we have to do point A to get to point C, to get to point B. Or, you have to go through one step in order to get to the next step. Sometimes just the way it is. But if you are perpetually in a situation where you are unsatisfied and yes, financially, let's say it's working as an example, but you don't have a long-term plan, if you don't have a commitment for your own happiness other than just the functionality, you're going to be one very unhappy individual. And nothing will change that other than you. So maybe that's something you're not wanting to see. And absolutely, when we keep ourselves stuck, we will keep an aspect of us hidden. Why? Well, because we're not allowing ourselves to express it for whatever reason. We don't want to see it. We're not good enough. We're not this or that, whatever the gazillion things we tell ourselves to keep ourselves stuck. So there's a need here to confront some inner dark aspects of you. I almost said the inner demons, and do not take that in a religious way on any level. This is a figure of speech. And not only do you want to connect with those aspects of you, and it is not an easy thing to do, to connect with the aspects of us that we try to hide from because, well, who wants to deal with that? We are preventing ourselves from truly being happy because it is those aspects of us that are the dark ones that are preventing us from being fully who we are, who we have the potential to be. So if you don't take care of one, you cannot have the other. It's that kind of a deal. So ask yourself this question. If there is a situation in your life right now where you are feeling stuck, and you have been stuck for a long, long time, what is it that you are choosing not to see that is preventing you from moving forward? And I'm assuming you don't want to be stuck because feeling of stuckness, well, keeps us feeling very stuck. And he's asking me not to go on and on about it, but you get the point. So there's a need for self-reflection. Don't pretend to not see something and then use it as an excuse of not knowing. Brilliant. In other words, we can't play dumb if we are choosing not to do something or not to see something, because it's no longer that we don't know. We just choose not to know. And some of you have a pretty good idea what it is that heck I'm talking about. Some of you are way overspending, and it's getting to the point where you're now gambling with your financial health. For some of you, you might be gambling, and it's an addiction, or it's a behavior or a pattern that is getting out of control. For some of you, you put so much emphasis on how you look, you forget to nourish your soul. And I'm gonna, how do I say this? For those of you who pay extraordinary amount of time on the outside, spend as half of that energy on the inside, and then your world will completely turn around. This is what my guide asked me to say. So this is going to be for some of you, obviously not for all of you. And yes, we all have it on some level, to some extent, at certain points in our lives. Then you have the card called Blessed. So there's a couple of messages here. Number one, it is important. I hear the words, attractiveness is important, but it isn't everything, as you already know. So whatever that means to you, and attractiveness doesn't have to be you're in your 30s or 20s. I mean, attractiveness comes in various forms, whatever attractiveness means to you. So Blessed is about, first and foremost, by discouraging yourself all the time, you're not giving yourself any credit for anything you have done that has gone right. You're robbing yourself of important aspects of you seeking opportunities. In other words, when you don't learn to validate yourself and see the goodness that is in you, you will have a tendency to look for that in others. And I think I talked about that at the very beginning. When that happens, it's a vicious cycle, because the ground inside of you is not strong to sustain you. Therefore, you're always at the mercy of the world validating you. And we already know how that works out. It doesn't work out great in long term. So getting back to this Blessed card, it is important, critical to this process, to recognize your own worth. How? Well, for one, be grateful for the things that you do have, not the things that you don't have, the things that you do have. Become aware of the things around you that you take for granted. Notice what is in front of you, rather than trying to search something that may never happen, while whatever is in front of you is wanting your attention. And that can be a person, that can be a hobby, that can be a situation, that can be a friend, that can be many things. Point is, for some of you, there's something right in front of you, and you're choosing not to see it, and you're looking for something else. But if you were to recognize it for what it can give you, or how it can sustain you, you would see the brilliance of the situation. So he's asking me not to interpret this. So some of you will have no clue what the hell I'm talking about, and some of you will go, I get it. Okay? So if, again, you are avoiding to see the truth, avoiding to see, choosing not to see, ask yourself the question, why? Then you have 3 tarot cards. You have King of Wands, Justice in reverse, and 3 of Swords. I don't read cards as a tarot reader, for those of you who don't know me. It's not my gift, so I'm just going to go with what I see. I do now know certain symbolism, but by no means am I a tarot reader. Not my thing. First and foremost, there is a situation in your life that is unfair, or it feels very unfair or unjust. This can be with a person, or this can be with a work situation. This can also be with a partner. It can be with a boss. It can be any number of things, but something in your life is feeling unjust, is feeling unfair, is feeling unbalanced. And the Three of Swords in reverse, it's telling me that I want to say it's time to walk away. Now, I am not saying that you need to walk away from an individual, though it does show me that some of you will be at least contemplating that as one of your options. And again, this could be career, friendship, any person or any situation that you relate to. It is also about you allowing yourself to be fully you and stop neglecting the aspects of you that are important, like your physical health, like your mental health, like your spiritual health. And those of you who are meant to feel it or hear it or feel it, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. In other words, it's time to face the music. For some of you, you have been struggling or gambling with your health. And because of it, you're feeling completely unbalanced. This is physical health, emotional health, mental health, spiritual health for sure. So it's time to face the music. Time to face the music is also the same as saying it's time to look at the truth. So there's something here. It's a bell being rang, and it's saying, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. It's time. Now, for some of you, it's time because you are needing to let something go. Why? Because, well, it has served its purpose, and it's no longer required for your well-being. And as a matter of fact, if you keep on with it, it will make you feel worse than you already do. And I'm not saying you guys feel bad, but this will mean something to somebody, at least one person. He's asking me to talk about the wolf. So the wolf is staring at me. When I see the wolf, it right away tells me that there's a communication from spirit. For those of you who believe in that sort of thing, there might be a guide idea trying to get your attention, a spirit trying to get your attention, somebody coming to you with a message, and that's spiritually guided. So yes, for some of you, it is paying attention to your intuition, to your dreams and signs, to your environment. The other part of the message is I keep hearing the words pack leader, pack leader, pack leader. So some of you are a pack leader, for example, and you could be a boss, you could be a person of authority, you could be the person in a family who keeps everybody together. Whatever that means, leader, you get it, pack leader, you get what that means. And so it is fantastic, but for some of you, the message is sometimes when we're too stuck in our own ideas, we choose not to see other people for who they are. We see them as something else altogether. So there's another aspect of not seeing, and I'm getting itchy nose, and that's literally my guide saying, keep at it. So again, another message of not seeing. So the message of the wolf is be all-inclusive, including aspects of yourself. If we look at ourselves a certain way and we try to reject aspects that we don't like, well, for one, you can never reject something that is inherently a part of you. It cannot cease to exist. I want you to hear this. The only thing it does, it creates a war within you. The only thing you can do, or not, I'm going to rephrase, the best thing you can do is learn how to accept it and then work with it to help it become your strength rather than the thing you're trying to hide from. So there's a very important message here. It's a distinction that's being made. And the distinction is about fighting the aspects of us that make us feel uncomfortable versus accepting it for what it is trying to help you with, and learn from it and allow that to be your strength. And obviously that can apply to various things. You guys will interpret this however you want. But for some of you, you are in a position of a leader and needing to see the bigger picture or needing to let go of choosing not to see is very, very important. Another message you have is all that glitters in protection. And this is a message for those of you who are contemplating something, but whatever you're contemplating, you may want to think about not pursuing it, walking away from it. If it's too good to be true, it's important to look at what's underneath the thin veneer. Now remember, one of the things that I kept seeing was not paying attention, not wanting to pay attention, or not wanting to see the truth. There are some of you that are contemplating either staying in a situation or pursuing a situation that you know darn well does not serve you. And you're being encouraged to at least ask yourself a very important question. Is this truly for me? And be honest with yourself. You have to be honest. And if so, then proceed. But if it's not, then at least it's out in the open, and then you know what you're dealing with. Now, last but not least, I pulled a rune. And I have to actually read it because I just got them. I don't know them, but it's brilliant because the rune is all about defense and defensiveness. And what this rune talks about is perseverance and caution is required. Avoid foreseeable difficulties by doing the right thing. And this rune means to see, despite inconveniences and discomforts, growth is still encouraged. So even a rune stone talks about the need to see something very, very important, that perhaps it's not convenient and maybe even not comfortable, but through that a growth will transpire. And I think that's all I have. So this is an interesting reading. I have not done them before this way. Let me know what you think. Remember, my message is, what do you need to know the most in order to help you move on in whatever area you are struggling with or area that's a challenge? And the deeper the message is, the more understanding you will have within yourself. The more of that happens more often, the more empowered individual you are. And as far as I'm concerned, when we're more empowered, life gets a little bit easier. So I wish you best of luck. Let's see how this evolves for the next 4 weeks or so. And just a reminder that the Uranus in Taurus videos are now on Vimeo. Those are the 7-year projections. I've never done anything like that before. Do check it out. And if you do, thank you. And that's all I have. Best of luck, and I will see you soon. Take care. Thanks for watching.